Alright, let's continue along with this example and see how we can improve this model by adding user and item features. So over here on your saved data sets we uploaded previously, the only user features are going to be those here in the DC donors table, or CSV. I'm going to move this right up here. Let's pull in select columns. And actually, let's go ahead and I'm going to kill this partition sample pill that we used before, just when we had a really long wait time when we were trying to score that last model. Okay, so here, the way Azure wants this is the columns need to be, we need to have the donor ID first so that it matches up with the donor ID here in the user item triple table. Donor ID right there, that's our user ID. So when we select columns in this one, we're going to have donor ID first, and then any features that we want to use. Now I've got city, state, zip, is teacher, and that's about it. Let's use, let's not get into locations right now because I don't want to have to clean those features up. Let's just use this one, a yes, no, true, false of whether or not the donor is a teacher. Does this explain which other types of projects they'll be interested in? So let's find out. We're going to keep this checked to preserve that column order. It probably was already in that order, so no big deal. But anyway, once we have those in there, we should be able to simply connect this in to both the train recommender. I'll pull this over here in the middle. And then we also need to connect it a second time into the score recommender. So user features go into this middle on both. If you hover over, you'll see training data set of user features. User features, great. Looks good. Let's go ahead and let's change our score recommender back to a rating prediction again, and that way we can evaluate and get our fit metrics. All right. While that's running, let's take a look and see what we're looking for here. So here's our, let's see, not that one, right here. All right, let me scroll down real quick. Off screen. I'm trying to keep my passwords off the screen here. And here we go. All right, so here's what we just did, an example so you can see it. We're going to go through and check and make sure that everything that we get matches up with what's in this table, to make sure that we're following along correctly. So I'll pause this while train recommender is continuing. All right, let's take a look and see what we got here. Visualize. All right, MAE and RMSE. Looks like they're slightly bigger than what we had before. Let's check and see if it matches up here. Yep, okay. So we've got the right answers. But compare it to what we had above. It was like 8.0 something and 10 point something. So our error whenever predicting a donation amount, and it's actually the natural log of donation amount, has gotten slightly worse. Well, let's check out the NDCG before we worry too much. So let's change score matchbox recommender to item recommendation and rerun these last two pills. What you're going to find here while this is running is that our NDCG score will actually increase a little bit. So remember, error, like RMSE and MAE, we want those to be lower. That means our predictions are more accurate. But NDCG, this is a measure of how accurate the rank ordering was, or is, for the recommendations. So, no, I don't want that. I want the evaluate recommender. So, 0.90845. That's a little bit larger than what we had before. Before it was 0.93 something. So NDCG went up, error went, NDCG went up, but error also went up, which we prefer to go down. Well, which one should we use to determine whether keeping donor as teacher is a good idea or not? Since it's not the actual predicted donation amount that we care about, it's the rank ordering that we care about. I'm going to default to the NDCG score and say let's keep it in there because that made it get a bit higher. Now, truth be told, it's so similar that it really probably makes no difference. But the larger, as it makes a bigger and bigger difference, we'll default to the NDCG as a more important metric. But I'll keep it in there just for a more complete example. Now let's go through and add, we're going to add item features, and that's going to take a bit longer, as you'll see in just a moment, but we'll end this video here.